Hey everybody, I wanted to make a very special announcement. So, for about the last 2 years, I've been working on a really special project. And it's a project that I've devoted a lot of time to, a lot of energy, and I'm just really excited to announce it to you guys. So, without further ado, here's what it is. I am launching an online record store called Needle Meets Vinyl. And the idea behind this record store started, like I said, about 2 years ago. And here's how it started. I've been collecting records now for, if you can believe it, over 20 years. And about two, maybe 3 years ago, I started making these videos. And some of my friends and family found it online and figured out, oh wow, he's really into this stuff. And I would get the occasional friend or family member who would say like, hey, do you know like what's the best sounding Allman Brothers Eat a Peach album? Or, hey, can you find me a copy of AC/DC's Back in Black, the best sounding one, because I really want to hear that. And so what happened was, as I would go to these record stores, which I would do on a weekly basis, I would start to keep a list in my phone of records that I knew that people wanted, and I would research each of those records to find out which ones people thought sounded the best, and then I would also just try to find the best one on my own. And the way I went about doing that was really, it started with the Beatles records. And this whole shelf right here, going all the way back here, these are all my Beatle records. And I'm sure a lot of you do the same thing. But what I would do is anytime I'd see a Beatle record and a pressing that I didn't have, I would buy it right away. Just because I'm a collector, like a lot of you are. But also because I wanted to find the best sounding copy of that particular album. And the number one rule that I stuck with myself was I'm not gonna follow any like rules or things that I've heard before. So, for example, I know a lot of people have talked about how, the Orange Capital Beatle pressings don't sound very good. Well, that might be true, but that might not always be true. So even if I saw a Revolver US edition with the Orange Capital label, I would pick it up just because I A, wanted to collect it, and B, wanted to hear how it sounded. So that principle of finding the best sounding version of an album evolved into this new website, Needle Meets Vinyl. And there are a bunch of key things that I really wanted to have on this website, and the number one thing being sound. Obviously, the sound of the record is the most important thing for people like I know you and people like me, where we love music so much and we love the songs within these albums so much, they mean so much to us, that having them sound the absolute best they can sound is like an endless pursuit, right? At least it is for me, as you can probably see with all these copies of, like I have 12 copies of Sgt. Pepper, and the list goes on and on. So, with this website, I wanted to find the best sounding version of these albums. And the way I went about doing this is I would pick a particular album. Let's just say it's the Dave Brubeck Quartet's Time Out record, which is a classic jazz album. What I would do is, over the last 2 years, I've been buying up every single copy I'd find at a record store. The only stipulation is it had to be a semi-clean copy. So obviously I wouldn't pick up anything that had major scratches or stuff like that. And over time, I ended up having I think I had like 11 copies of Time Out. I would then take all those 11 copies and listen to each one, give it a really thorough listen, write down a little information about each one that I liked or didn't like or whatever. Then I would take the best of those, and maybe I got down to like five of the 11. Take those 5, put them against each other, then get down to about 3, take those 3, put those against each other, and then I get down to 2, and then just 1, and then that one copy would be the best sounding version of Time Out that I could find. And that's the one I would keep for my own collection, which is now over here, Dave Brubeck. So that's how I went about doing this, and it was just for myself. I just wanted to find the best sounding records for myself. But like I said, this evolved with friends and family asking me to do the same thing for them, and I did do that, And it seemed to be very successful. Every time I would do that for someone, they were always really, really happy with what I found for them and just really excited. And a lot of the times they would say to me, wow, you should turn this into a business. This is something that you could do, and I think people would be really interested in buying this from you. So it always just kind of stayed in the back of my mind, and I kept collecting records, as I still do to this day. And I slowly, about 2 years ago, is when I really started getting serious about it, and I started collecting albums or buying albums that weren't just for my own personal collection, buying albums that I knew were in demand from other people in the vinyl community, and just records that I know sound really great, and that maybe someday I'd want to sell. So that leads me to this point right now, and I actually finally have enough records that I feel comfortable with launching a website and selling them, and that is now needlemeetsvinyl.com. And I'm announcing it here on my YouTube channel just because I know the vinyl community has been just so amazing to me, and has been so supportive of the videos I make, and just I've learned so much from the vinyl community as well. People who leave comments that have so much knowledge of certain records, certain pressings, and I've just learned so much, and I'm going to continue to do that. That's the other thing I wanted to bring up about this new website. When I put these records on here, I wanted to make these records accessible to everyone. So it's not just for the audiophiles or the hardcore collectors. It's for everyone. So anyone that wants to dive just a little bit further into record collecting, or into, just getting that better copy of a certain album, that's what I wanted to do. Those are the people I'm targeting, trying to just spread the music around. And also, it's a website that I wanted to keep the prices down. There are other websites that exist that do fantastic work, that have audiophile quality albums that are really, really expensive, but it's justifiable why they are so expensive. They take so much time and effort, and they're finding those absolutely just almost impossible records to find. Now, while I am also putting in a lot of time and effort into this, and I'm also finding a lot of hard to find records, I am keeping price in mind, and I want to keep those kind of low. So when you go to the website, you will see that, sure, some of the records are a little bit on the pricey side, but that's just because there are many reasons that go into that. Because, A, sometimes they're really hard to find. B, sometimes finding a really clean copy of that particular album is almost impossible. A good example is Pink Floyd's The Wall. I've had numerous people ask me if I've ever seen Pink Floyd's The Wall in a record store, or what's the best sounding copy. Well, I found out what the best sounding copy is, and I got my hands on, I think I got four different copies of it, and they all were different degrees of conditions as far as the quiet surfaces and that. And I found the one that sounds amazing, and it's really clean, and that's the one I have listed on the website right now. And it's for $125, which I know seems really expensive, but here's my thinking behind that. When I wanted to find the best sounding white album by the Beatles, I did so much research. This is just for myself, by the way. I did so much research. I bought as many copies as I could. As you can see, these are all white albums right here. All these are white albums. And I've also since sold a bunch of other ones that I added to this. But I found out that the German white album pressing from, I think, the early, late 68, early 69 was the best one. I finally found a copy online, and I think I paid $90 for it. And it was totally worth it, because I love it so much. It's fantastic. It sounds great, and it was worth it to me. So I know there's other people out there just like me who they have a favorite album, and they're willing to spend that one-time large amount to buy it and to have that great copy, right? But there's also the people who don't want to spend that much money, and I also want to target to those people as well. So I have other records that are for around $40, $45 that are excellent records. They sound really, really good. And that's basically the story behind my new website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. So I would be so honored if any of you would check it out. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. If you find a record that is something that you've been wanting for a while and it happens to be on there right now, please purchase it. That'd be really cool. I can't wait to get that very first order. It's going to be really, really cool. And my goal is just to try to have a business where it's a lot of fun for me, because I love collecting records and finding other records, and also just spreading music around and spreading the love of collecting records, because for me it's one of my all-time passions, and I know for a lot of you that's true as well. So I think I've covered all the bases here. Another thing before I go that I do want to say is I will continue to make my normal YouTube videos on here, like my vinyl finds, my Beatle finds, and I'm really excited to talk about the new Abbey Road deluxe edition that's coming out. I already placed my pre-order, by the way, so I can't wait to get that. And I'll also be getting the I'm gonna get the three LP set, and I'm also gonna get the I guess it's the three disc, like, you know, it comes with the book and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited for that. So nothing's changing as far as that goes on this channel. But I will occasionally be showing some of the records that I'm selling on the website on here, just to give a more detailed view. And if you're interested in checking that out, that's cool. If you're not, no problem. And that's it. So, hey, check out needlemeetsvinyl.com and let me know what you think. Okay, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye.